Welcome to yet another episode of The Grown Norm. My name is Denning Okato. Article 3 of the Constitution provides for defense of the Constitution. And allow me today to just read it to you since it's a short article. And Article 3, Subarticle 1 states that every person has an obligation to respect, uphold, and defend this Constitution. So let's look at the first one. An obligation to respect the Constitution. This means that you as a Kenyan needs to show utmost respect to the Constitution. Remember, when we say the Constitution is the supreme law of this land, for you to ensure that we are upholding and we are indeed acknowledging this Constitution, you need to show it utmost respect. And how do you show it respect? By ensuring that everywhere you go, anything you do, any legal action you engage into is in accordance with the Constitution. This means that the Constitution comes before these other laws, and it must be given utmost consideration whenever you are doing anything. And of course, the Constitution deserves respect because of the rights and obligations it has given us. It has provided for us rights under Chapter 4 of the Constitution. It has given us sovereign power. In regards to upholding the Constitution, it means that all the provisions of the Constitution must be taken into account. And when you talk about upholding the Constitution, it's ensuring that if it's the right that you've been given, you ensure that they are followed. You ensure that the state observe your rights. If there are any duties that you've been given as a Kenyan, a good example, anytime you go to picket, you must do picketing and demonstration in accordance to the law. Anytime you exercise your political rights, you must do so in accordance with the law. Anytime you ensure that your economic and social rights are being utilized, you must ensure that they are being utilized in accordance with the law. So when you talk about upholding the Constitution, what you are saying that it's each and every person, be it a natural person who is a human being or a legal person who is a creation of the law, each and every person must ensure that the provisions of the Constitution are obeyed and they are followed to the letter. The third way in which the defense of the Constitution has been provided for under Article 3, Subarticle 1 is defending the Constitution. I mean, from the English definition of the word defend, it's very clear that each and every Kenyan has a duty to ensure that he or she defends the Constitution. And this, of course, is done by ensuring that it's followed. How do you defend a law or a Constitution? It's by ensuring that the provisions that have been laid out in the Constitution are followed and are ensured that they are respected. One way in which you can defend the provisions of the Constitution is when, let's say, one of your rights has been infringed. You can go to court and ensure that any person who is violating your rights is brought to the book. Another way in which you can defend the Constitution is talking about it, because this Constitution was brought to us through the referendum, and this shows that we had an agreement towards the provision of the Constitution. It's important upon you as a Kenyan to ensure that each and every time you talk about this Constitution and you show people how important it is, and ensure that through the sovereign power that we have, we bring out the supremacy of the Constitution. So for us to state that the Constitution indeed is being defended, we must bring out its sovereignty. We must bring out its validity. So each and every Kenyan has an obligation to defend this Constitution in whichever way he can, either by going to court or ensuring that they talk good about this Constitution and ensuring that the provisions of this Constitution are followed and are not violated in any way. Article 3, Subarticle 2 of the Constitution provides for the following. Any attempt to establish a government otherwise than in the compliance with this Constitution is unlawful. What we are saying is this, that any person who tries to establish a government that is not as per the procedure provided for in the Constitution will be doing something unlawful. And from Article 1 of the Constitution, we saw that a government has three arms. That is the Parliament, the Judiciary, and the Executive. And of course, we also have the same wings at the county government level. So any person who by his own choice decides to establish his own government without going through the provisions of the Constitution, he or she will be doing something that is very unlawful, and he or she will be answerable for this. Of course, when someone does such a thing, he or she can be taken to court for violating the provisions of the Constitution. So the least thing we can do as a Kenyan is to ensure that we respect the Constitution of this land. So in anything that you engage into, in everything that you do, ensure that each and every person that you interact with respects the Constitution to the utmost. Thank you very much.